Welcome everybody from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you here today, and once again we're looking at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. Lately we've been looking at a range of different ArchiMate viewpoints, and we're going to continue that again today, and we're going to look at the value stream viewpoint. My name's Scott Hebbard and I'm joined by Stephen McGuire. Welcome Stephen. What can you tell us about the value stream viewpoint and how it's used in ArchiMate?
Thanks for the introduction, Scott. Always a pleasure to be here. Yeah, the value stream viewpoint is a viewpoint that a business architect uses to create a structured view of a value stream. So we can have a value stream that has other things inside it as well, so things nested inside, and it's going to look at relating those to capabilities and, in the end, the kind of outcomes that a particular stakeholder might want to achieve. So having said that, let's make a start, Scott. And as always, we go to the top right-hand corner of the application and we drop down the list of perspective sets. We're interested in ArchiMate, which is part of Enterprise Architecture set, and we're going to choose the ArchiMate perspective. I click on that and the tool changes its focus to be on ArchiMate. And we can see that the builder page has been displayed and there are a list of ArchiMate patterns there. So grouped by basic viewpoints, motivation, strategy, and implementation. Let's look in this one and see that we've got our value stream viewpoint, which is part of this strategy viewpoints there. If I click on that, you see that the tool has put up a description of the pattern. So lots of detail there, Scott, about the pattern and how to use it. And a worked example, not an example, a worked starter model there that allows you to inject that into your own model and then start changing the names to be the kind of things you want to have in your particular system that you're developing. So as always, Scott, I like to do things from first principles. I'm going to close the builder page, but I encourage people to return to this and get the productivity gains, not just for ArchiMate, but for thousands of other patterns that are available throughout the tool in all sorts of other different technologies, areas and disciplines. So I'll close that page, go to our project browser and choose a location for this value stream viewpoint. So I'll look at the enterprise node there, the enterprise architecture node underneath that, business architecture, and we already have a number of viewpoints in there. So let's put another one under business, and we'll call this one the value stream viewpoint. So I use the new package icon in the project browser there and in the project browser toolbar and click on that, and I'm going to put in a name, value stream viewpoint. So having done that, I simply go OK there. You can see that's injected that package into the business architecture node. As always, Scott, I like to put some notes in here for people that are coming to the model and not familiar with the viewpoint perhaps. And I've got these from the ArchiMate specification itself. So it gives a bit of an idea about what that viewpoint's about. I encourage people to put notes into the packages, diagrams, elements and features because it will help people understand the models. So let's create a diagram there and start work on this value stream viewpoint. I simply select the new diagram icon in the browser toolbar. That brings up the builder page, and you can see here we've got the ArchiMate 3.1 of our perspective, and we have a number of different diagram types there. If I click on this little triangle here to expand that, we can see that there are a number of different viewpoints under that. The take-home message about this, Scott, is that choosing one of these rather than just the business diagram up there, what it does is Enterprise Architect does the work of just presenting the particular elements and relationships that are prescribed as part of the viewpoint by ArchiMate. So let's select that and see what happens. We click on the Create Diagram button there, and you can see now the toolbox pages
toolbox changed straight away.
Yeah, and we've got all the kind of things that we want in there under the value stream. We've got the value stream there and the capability, and then the outcome and the stakeholder. So you can see from the colors, Scott, these come from different parts of the language. So these are coming from the strategic layer, and these other two here are coming from motivations, the outcome and the stakeholder. But we're focused on the value stream. So let's put a value stream into our diagram. We simply select that in the in the toolbox, drag it and drop it onto the diagram. I'm going to turn off presentation mode at the moment. I have that selected and you can see that that's selecting that element there. I'll turn that off, and turning it on allows that element to be selected for presentations. But we're designing at the moment and building, so we'll turn that off and we'll make this a little bit bigger, Scott, so that we can put a number of different things in it. So what is our main value stream? Let's put in the top one as being parking management. So we'll put that in as the name. And we'll put some notes in describing what that parking management is actually about. So it's the end-to-end process of administering urban parking processes. And let's have a look now at some other parts of the value stream. So we'll put another nested one in here inside that other value stream there, and we'll call it space allocation. So our urban parking system has got a number of different aspects to it. It's got street parking, it's got event parking, high-rise tower parking for airports, for entertainment venues, and all sorts of other things. And so space allocation, people can book spaces in advance, and this space allocation takes care of that. Let's drop that one in there and put some notes in the process of designating, monitoring, and managing the availability of parking spaces. So you can see, Scott, that those colours are very similar to each other, and these are the default colours that ArchiMate suggests. What I'm going to do is just drop down the tone of that colour. So I'm not going to change the hue of the colour, but just the tone of it a little bit, and to make it stand out a little bit. If you go to the layout ribbon, the style panel there, and click on this one here, the colour, and that brings up this dialog box. I can click on the custom panel there and just soften the colour a little bit, or reduce the tone of it. That's also available, Scott, from this little icon here on the side of the element as well. So I can simply go to that there and bring up the same dialog box there that I had a minute ago. So lots of different places. That's also available from the diagram toolbar as well. So Enterprise Architect has a large number of places where you can choose these icons from. The net result is the same. Let's put in a new element now, a capability, and relate that to this value stream. So we'll put in a capability, and we'll put that directly underneath the space allocation, give that a name, and let's put in some notes for that, and we'll enter those into the notes window. The ability to track, categorize, and maintain a digital inventory of parking spaces, we'll put that underneath, and then we'll put a relationship in here, Scott, between these two elements. So again, I can use the quick linker to help me, and a number of different choices there. I'm going to choose serving. So in some way, this capability helps this value stream element there.
When you're adding that connector, how do you make sure that it goes to space allocation rather than parking management?
Yeah, good point, Scott. Let me do that. Let me do that again. I'll just delete the connector completely off the diagram and show you that again. So I simply select this element, use the quick linker, and what I do is I drag that quick linker. You could put it anywhere you want, but the best thing to do is to put it right in the middle of that element. And you can see the stippled, that little dash border around the edge of the element. That's Enterprise Architect telling you that that's the element that it's going to. You can see as I change that.
I can see which one's selected now. So
yeah, and let me say, Scott, if I put it here, which wouldn't be wrong, there's nothing semantically wrong with that, except it's not what I want to do. I have the capacity, rather than deleting the connector and starting again, if I roll my mouse over the end of that until it turns into, from that crosshair into a little arrow, I can grab that connector, and I can now put it onto this element. So
position it,
yeah. And Scott, even the most experienced people will make mistakes, and the tool has all of the functionality, all of the features and tips and tricks for you to be able to work with models very, very efficiently. So we have that in there. Let's put in an outcome in here now as well. So let's have the outcome that we want as that outcome in there, and we'll have it as maximized. I spelled that right. Maximized utilization. few I's and Z's in it. On there, I'll put that in there, and I'll drop some notes in here as well. Achieving optimal use of the available parking spaces there, and let's put in a relationship between these two elements. And I'll drag this way this time, and let's put in realizes. So the capability realizes that that particular outcome. Now, who's interested in this outcome, Scott? That's the thing. And let's have a look at who that is. Let's say that's the parking authority that's interested in that outcome. And let's have a look at what we can do there. We can put a stakeholder in, and we can call this stakeholder the parking authority. The language you use will depend upon the kind of systems you're working with. And let's put a relationship in between that, and we'll say it's influences that the stakeholder influences that outcome. Yeah. So then we have a kind of a full thread all the way down. We've got more value stream items to put in. So what I'll get you to do is perform some of your time travel magic, Scott, and I'll be back in a few seconds with a completed diagram.
Welcome back, everybody. I've performed a little bit of editing and time travel magic, and we've now got our completed diagram, which looks at the value stream viewpoint and looks at a number of different stakeholders. So I can see the parking authority and the city revenue department, system operators, and traffic management. So Stephen, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about this diagram and some of the elements that we've added.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So all we've done really is add some more, not depth to this, but we're adding across this in this horizontal dimension, and also vertically as well. So we had space allocation. Now we've got revenue collection, compliance monitoring, usage analysis, and we can see the capabilities there. So the usage analysis has got a related capability of demand forecasting. Dynamic pricing model is one of the outcomes that's wanted there, and the traffic management people are interested in that. We can put other connectors in here. So if we look at this connector here, we can see that the connector type, if we look over at the properties window over here, you can see that's influencing. So what I can do is I can put in some other connectors here. So I can connect this element up and say, look, this stakeholder is interested in this dynamic pricing model as well, and it influences that one. I can change the connector line by putting some waypoints in, Scott, by just doing that, moving that across, another waypoint there, and just put it across to that element there and move that across. And you can see how simple that is to do. And now we're saying that this city revenue department influences this dynamic model one as well. So yeah, the semantics of this, the things that you're saying, the narrative that you're creating depends upon the particular system you're working in, but also the things that you want to say that are important. And remember, the obvious things are not the most important things to model. The obvious things that you probably, a lot of people will know. It's the things that are not so obvious or ambiguous that you want to model. Let's have a look as well at a couple of things. These lines are sometimes a little bit hard to understand in ArchiMate. The shapes of the lines tell you what type of lines it is. One's got an open diamond there. It's got an open arrowhead, a dash line. What I can do, Scott, is I can drop in a legend, which we've done with many of the other viewpoints. I'll just expand that across there, and I'm going to drop in this ArchiMate legend there. I'll put it underneath the diagram notes there, and you can see now that it's very easy to understand the types and names of these relationships in ArchiMate. So that's very useful. Scott, that's the value stream viewpoint. Again, a very useful one to connect up the value stream to capabilities and in turn outcomes and what the stakeholders are wanting to achieve. We've put the value stream at the top because that's the focus. You could also, if you wanted to, turn this diagram, flip it upside down vertically if you like, and put the stakeholders up the top if that makes more sense to your audience. But remember, Scott, it's always about the audience. Who you're creating these diagrams for is an audience that can understand the narrative that you're creating.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to change the story to cater for, different audiences. And some people might like diagrams to look a certain way. So
Yeah.
I think the good thing is that Enterprise Architect always gives you the flexibility to design it the way you need for your customers. So
Exactly, Scott.
well, once again, thank you very much for joining us. We always love having you join us on these videos. We love your feedback, and it's great to have you here. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. If you have any questions about the value stream viewpoint, you can reach out to Stephen using his LinkedIn and website credentials that are listed in the video description below. So thanks once again. Great to have you here. And Stephen, thank you very much for your expertise. It's been great to see all of these ArchiMate diagrams come together. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Scott.